Good morning, my friends. This is Pastor Les from Fire of Hope Ministries. I bid you a wonderful day today. I have another armchair snippet for you to consider. And you'll recall the video I did with understanding the parable of the fig tree. Jesus told us in Matthew 24 to understand the parable of the fig tree and all of the trees. And I've done a whole video on what those leaves are on the fig tree. And if you haven't seen that, I suggest you go back and look at my YouTube channel, Les Wallen, and have a look at that, because that will give you an understanding of what the leaves are. And the leaves effectively are things that are happening now, have happened in the past, but they're pointing to major events in the future. Okay? One of the examples I used was California burning up, and how that is pointing to the Revelation, where it talks about a whole bunch of the ground actually just burning up with terrible temperatures. So the fig tree, the leaf on the fig tree that we're looking at now is Ukraine. And I'm just offering this to you as a suggestion, because it all relates, remember, to Israel. Now, in Ezekiel 38, in verse 13, prophecy, Sheba, Dedan, and the merchants of Tarshish. Now, Tarshish, I believe, is Great Britain. Many people think that Tarshish is Spain, but I think there's adequate evidence out there to show that it's not Spain, but it is, in fact, Great Britain. And all the young lions, so the young lions coming out of coming out of Great Britain would be America, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, all the British Commonwealth countries, in effect. And they're going to say to you is Gog. Gog is the president of Russia, whoever that might be at the time. Have you come to take plunder? So this army, remember, is going to come down. Is going to come down and invade the mountains of Israel. They'll come in from Syria onto the Golan Heights and onto the West Bank. They're going to invade the mountains of Israel. Now, the problem with that is God specifically states in the Bible that the mountains are his land. Okay? Now, it's the only land in the world that God says, this is my land. You have the hide to come onto my land. And so this war is going to take place, but Israel itself will not fight the war, because this is God's fight. He's going to come, and why is he going to do that? Because he states constantly in the Bible that all people, all nations will know that he is the Lord God Almighty. Okay, so the whole purpose of this is to demonstrate to the world, to demonstrate to the nations. This is another act of mercy of God and God's love. He is so determined that he doesn't want to hurt or destroy anybody, but he wants us to love him and become the church, become the bride of Christ, and to spend eternity with him. He will do everything he can right to the last second to convince you of how much he loves you and how much you should want to be with him and love him, okay? So what we're seeing in Ukraine at the moment is all the nations standing back and saying, oh, why are you doing this, Russia? Why are you doing this? And they're supplying some arms to Ukraine to help them, but nobody is physically helping them fight the war. And this is a picture, this is a leaf of what's going to happen in Jerusalem, what's going to happen in Israel. When when this Gog-Magog army comes down against Israel, everybody's going to say, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? But nobody will physically help them. And that is in order for God to demonstrate his power to the entire world. Okay? He will destroy that army, all but a tenth of it. And you've seen what's happened to the Russian army now. They've lost over 10,000 soldiers, one way or another, dead, wounded, missing. out of this army. And the whole time they were in Afghanistan, in the 10 years they were in Afghanistan, they only lost 10,000 soldiers. They've now lost 10,000 soldiers in a month. Okay, so this again is a leaf. This is a picture of what is going to happen on the mountains of Israel.